Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is fellow Forbes breaking news reporter, Ana Faguy. Ana, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We've got a fun conversation today, football and food. As you know, the Super Bowl is coming up this weekend, but there has been, high prices at the grocery store. People are feeling that pinch. Over the summer, we had 40-year high inflation. And while that has been cooling off, people are still feeling that in line at the grocery store. So how will those high prices be impacting Sunday's food?
So overall, I spoke to some food economists and they told me that prices are up between 8 and 11% at the grocery stores right now. We're looking at about 11% for at-home food and about 8% for food away from home. So that's like when you're going to restaurants and whatnot. Some items we're seeing increases on last year, and some items we're seeing lower prices. A couple things that stood out to me. Avocados are about 20% cheaper than they were at this time last year. And chicken wings are down about 22% from this time last year.
Nice. So it looks like you should have some guac and wings at your Super Bowl party. What else should you be eating and including in Sunday's spread?
So those are the two biggest recommendations, things that are pretty starkly cheaper than this time last year. In terms of alcohol, beer is up about 11%. Wine is up about 3%, and spirits are up about 2%. So recommending wine and spirits over a beer choice. And then potato chips and tortilla chips, which are obviously classics for the Super Bowl. Those are up 8 to 10%. So right on average with general food inflation. So again, maybe some guacamole, maybe some veggies to scoop that up instead of tortilla chips, and you'll be saving a little bit more money than this time last year.
So wine, wings, and guac, that could start a new football tradition here. Who knows? But what foods should we be avoiding?
So I'd probably recommend avoiding some of those red meats. Those are up on par with general food inflation. And instead, choosing chicken. Like I said earlier, chicken wings would be a better recommendation for your meats at this year's Super Bowl party.
Can you walk us through how we got here? Why are prices so high the past year, especially now leading into kickoff of the Super Bowl?
So it's because of a culmination of things. First, we had the pandemic, which increased the price of foods. And then that was due to the cost of labor and the cost of transportation. And then when we had the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we saw the grain and wheat supply worldwide being hindered by that invasion, since Eastern Europe supplies so much of those foods. So that's a second stressor that got added to the system. And then the third thing is the deadliest avian flu outbreak the US has ever seen. And so when you see these three factors converging, you see this significant rise in food prices.
Is there any indication that these are easing? President Biden is announcing in May that he's going to roll back on calling this pandemic a national emergency. The war in Ukraine has been lasting a year. And is this avian flu going away anytime soon?
Yeah, so I think the findings of that these food economists that I spoke to have seen from, looking at these Super Bowl numbers is that overall we're going to start to see a decrease in food inflation. It is going to take a little bit of time, but because the supply issue that we had before is easing, we'll start to see food prices decrease over time. And you can see some of those foods that I mentioned earlier, the the avocados and the chicken wings decreasing in price is kind of a sign of that.
That's a good sign for next year's Super Bowl, obviously. But as of now, as of this week, are grocery stores doing anything to help people, find ease shopping?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the folks that I talked to mentioned that grocery stores are now moving to this kind of featuring model where they'll have one product or one deal for a certain period of time, that they try to lure more customers into their store. So these are customers that don't necessarily shop at that store ordinarily, but they'll try to lure them in with a really good deal, and get them to do the rest of their shopping there. And that's called a featuring model. And we're seeing a lot more grocery stores across the country doing that, in order to get back some of that business lost by the convergence of all of those big problems that we talked about earlier.
And is this featuring model something that's going to be featured every day, or is this something for larger days like the Super Bowl or holidays, thinking Christmas, Thanksgiving, that type of thing?
I think we're going to see it more at play during those big moments, like you mentioned. The Super Bowl is one of them. Summertime, 4th of July in particular as well. But I think people grocery stores are looking for more business. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it during other times of the year as well.
Ana Faguy, thank you so much.
Thanks.